Ghost in the Shell is a live-action adaptation of the Japanese anime of the same name and is rated PG-13 for intense sequences of sci-fi violence, some suggestive content, and disturbing images, and is an hour and 47 minutes. Scarlett Johansson plays Major. She's a cybernetically enhanced super soldier who is determined to take down crime and uncovers a conspiracy against Hanka cybernetic technologies that she has to uncover and take down. Straightforward review. I've never seen the original anime for this. I'm not really a huge anime fan. I have Akira on Blu-ray, as you can probably see behind me, but I haven't watched Akira yet, so I wasn't really excited for Ghost in the Shell, and the trailers were kind of off-putting. I was like, that looks kind of bad. And luckily, it wasn't. It was actually surprising. It wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible. And that's all I could ask for a movie like this. I enjoyed watching it. I thought it was watchable. I enjoyed myself while I was watching it. I wasn't bored. And that was really good for a movie like this. First things first, Scarlett Johansson was really good in this movie. She has proved since she was cast in the Avengers movies that she is a good actress. I always never agreed with that casting in Iron Man 2, but she has become leaps and bounds better than what I thought she used to be. And that is a really good sign for her. Black Widow, perfect. As for the rest of the cast in this movie, can't really say too much about them because they were either really weak or they were just totally terrible and sucked. Her partner in crime, I don't know his name, I don't know his character's name. Yeah, he was not a good actor, and there was one line of dialogue that evidenced this. I was like, that was terrible delivery. Please don't ever act again. I've never seen the guy before. Hope to never see him again. This movie, the biggest selling point for this movie is the visuals. It is visually enthralling. You feel like you're in this futuristic, dystopian environment, which is what this really is. The CGI, I didn't notice any problems with it. If I do, I usually point it out. I didn't take note in my head. I didn't see any. I thought the CGI was seamless in this movie. It all looks so cool, all looks so real. The futuristic city, so cool, like a futuristic city should. Shows like giant holograms that actually look like they're like huge like holograms that are actually there in a city, and I was like, that's pretty impressive. Action scenes were kind of a mixed bag for me, and I'm gonna kind of build off of this topic and talk about it for a minute. The action scenes, some of them were cool. They weren't groundbreaking or anything. I enjoyed watching some of them. Some of them had the dumb, slow, fast-mo where I was like, this is not interesting. If you saw my review of Power Rangers, you will know I hate the slow-mo or the slow, fast-mo, whatever you want to call it, technique. I think it's a lazy way of filming a movie, and it's a lazy editing technique. I hate it. It's unpopular. For me, it's unpopular. Looking at the violence as a whole in this movie, I don't know if it boils down to the fact that it's from a violence standpoint or if it's from an editing standpoint, because when the action scenes are happening, you can tell that this movie was filmed to be rated R. But Paramount was just like, nope, PG-13. The vibe the trailers gave me, I mean, when I see the fact that, like, on the cover for the anime, she's, like, naked and she's, like, covering her boobs, I'm like, I don't think this should have been PG-13? About the violence as a whole. The violence is definitely sanitized, but I think the movie as a whole is really sanitized. I was expecting some F-bombs, some nudity, some crazy blood spurts, you know, but we didn't get that. It's just, especially in the action scenes, it's just the way those action scenes are edited. You could tell this movie was supposed to be rated R, and then at the last minute, the studio stepped in and said, we have to make it PG-13. And it's so obvious. You can tell. So why don't you just make the filmmakers make the movie rated R like it's supposed to be? And why do the filmmakers keep giving in to these studio demands? And I don't get it. Like, just if you want to make the movie rated R, just tell the studio it'll be better off rated R. This movie looks like it's going to be an all-action, no-plot type of film. But it kind of dips in the second half into something where you get a little bit more backstory. You get a little bit more character depth, and it kind of gives the movie a little bit more heart, and I appreciated that. It was something I really didn't expect from this movie. It made me care about Major as a character a lot more, and some of her companions, especially that dude who I said is a terrible actor, he's not fleshed out, but I was like, I'm rooting for him because I'm rooting for her. Because they developed a backstory and gave her a little bit more character depth where I actually care. So I was happy, and I give the movie kudos for that. It kind of feels a bit rushed at times, though. The first, like, 5 minutes of the movie, you have, like, the introduction to Major as a character. Then you have this sweet action scene. And then it's like, oh, yeah, 8 minutes into the movie, plot. I was like, what? That's quick. It's almost like it throws you into the battle without knowing why you are in the battle. That's kind of how I felt at times with this movie. I was like, where is the first chunk of this movie? I'm in the middle of something where I don't even know why we're here. There's little to no explanation in that time frame. Luckily, it is explained a little bit more, and you learn a little bit more about the story. But I felt at the beginning, it was just it felt like the movie just began in the middle. There was no beginning. And I was like, this is kind of a problem. I wasn't bored with this movie. Surprisingly, I thought this was actually a fine movie. It's probably one I would watch again. There are some major flaws with this film, especially the sanitization. But for the most part, I really enjoyed Scarlett Johansson's performance. I enjoyed that dip in the middle where you get a little bit more backstory. There are a couple of scenes that are rushed. It feels like you're kind of starting off in the middle of the movie. Definitely check it out. I wouldn't be surprised if I see the original anime that this isn't as good as the original anime. I don't think it's ever going to be. I am going to give Ghost in the Shell a 7.1 out of 10. I saw this a couple days early, so when you see this movie, I want to know what you think. Drop me a comment in the comment section below, and you can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. If you're on YouTube, click our logo at the end of this video and go insane with the Mad Guys.